The Premier League returns Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, with a loaded weekend after wrapping up yet another international break. We have two huge derbies to bet on, one in Merseyside, the other one down in London. The season is in full effect. We've got European matches coming up after the weekend. Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast. I'm Andrew Passaro. He's Ani Sridhar. You can follow us at Andrew Passaro, at Ani323, at the Plus Money Pod. And if you are watching here on the YouTube, I do just want to ask before we get into the bets, just hit that subscribe button. It would be a big favor to us, helping us out. So that helps. Ani, I hope your international break was good as it can be. I always feel like those weeks are hard to get through, but I found a new favorite team to bet on, and it's goals and Hunger Games. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty solid international break. Won some money, would have liked to have won more. Hungary actually screwed me out of winning more, so there's that. Couldn't get a win against Lithuania, which was a little bit embarrassing, if I have to say so myself, because if they had won that, they would have qualified for the Euros, and that's a big deal for a country like Hungary. So, yeah. Aside from that, though, pretty good. No major injuries here in the Prem coming from international break. Unfortunately, we did see Neymar tear his ACL and meniscus, but that doesn't impact what we're gonna get into. So besides
Nope.
that, pretty good.
All right. If you did miss any of our bets, you can follow them over on the Pickett app, which I do want to recommend. It's a great app to track your bets, see what your friends are up to. It's a free companion app. It syncs with all of your sportsbooks account, gives you stats on how you're doing week by week, month over month, helps you bet more responsibly. Additionally, it breaks down your record by sport, by league. We love using the Pickett app. If you use promo code Plus Money, that's lowercase, all one word, you can win $3 or $100 when you sign up and you support the podcast. Once again, totally free, promo code Plus Money. Let's get into it. Like I said, we have two huge derbies to bet on. Let's start 7:30 in the morning. Liverpool taking on Everton. I can imagine where we're going to go with this one. Both teams to score, Everton to score first. I do want to point out a couple other things. Mo Salah has scored or assisted in 12 straight matches at Anfield, and he has 5 goals in 9 appearances against Everton. And Liverpool have conceded first in 21 of 46 in 21 of their last 46 EPL matches going back to last season. A couple things that I scratched off of my card because I'm a little worried about. Liverpool team total over 2.5 is only at plus 106 for that value. I don't love it. I also don't love the value on the first half over at plus 108. But if you like first half goals, like me, I'll tell you both teams to score in the first half at plus 250. I like Everton first half over half a goal, plus 172. I like Everton to score first, also at plus 250. And then I have 2 same game parlays, over 2.5 goals, 23 or more shots, over 8.5 corners. That's plus 112. If you want one with a little more juice, I like Liverpool minus 1.5 on the spread. That was like at minus 110. So I added 7.5 corners to that, and it gets you up to plus 132. That's where I'm at for that. Ani, I can imagine I threw out something you like in that deluge of picks that I have for this game at 7:30 on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I've been riding the other team to score first in Liverpool games. It hit in that Brighton Liverpool game, it hit in the Tottenham Liverpool game, which were the last two that I believe that they played, where I bet it, which was a big win for me. So I'm taking that again, plus 250, Everton to score first. And I kept it simple. I'm taking the over 3.5 at plus 110 in this matchup as well. I do think Liverpool roll in this game. There was no value. I looked at Mo Salah's numbers, but no value in betting him to score or assist in this one. I think it's like minus 170. So I'm just going to stick to the over and hope for a high scoring game.
I like that Salah score or assist as a parlay piece. If you
Yeah.
guys are trying to build a score or assist parlay, I think that's a really nice one. I'm going to go to Newcastle versus Crystal Palace, and I've had this stat saved in my phone with a reminder that pinged me yesterday because that's all I use the reminder app for is betting stats. Crystal Palace have scored 1 first half goal all season. And we're going to save that for a parlay later in the podcast. But Newcastle and over 2.5 at plus 110 and Newcastle minus 1.5 is plus 132. We're finally getting decent spreads on the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's in team props, I believe you can get, which the 3-way spread is a very dangerous thing because if you're betting -2 or -1, it's really -3. You really need them to win by 3. If -2 is still, if they win by 2, it's still somehow a loss. It's not a push. It's ridiculous. So I like Newcastle. I think they'll handle Crystal Palace rather easily. And this could be the last time we see Sandro Tonali for a significant period of time for Newcastle, as he's caught up in a huge betting scandal over in Italy that led to the 7-month suspension for a young player over at Juve. And Tonali admitted to betting on games at Milan while he was playing for them. Whether or not he played in the game is still up for debate, but apparently him participating in the investigation could lead to a lesser suspension, but we shall see.
Yeah, I mean, this is worse than Ivan Toney's betting scandal. So I expect a pretty substantial punishment here for Sandro Tonali. That being said, I've mentioned this a lot before on the podcast. Crystal Palace, not a good team on the road. If they're at home, it's a completely different story for them. Newcastle, very good at home and very good at keeping clean sheets at home. So the only thing I think that's going to break this is if Newcastle just decide to pop off. But correct score combination, Newcastle to win 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0 plus 165.
Oh, I like that. I had that in the Italy-Malta game during international break, and Italy were up 3-0 and scored a garbage time goal in the 90th minute. And Italy never scored 4, as any Italian fan will tell you. Yeah. Let's go to Manchester City, Brighton. The most successful bet of the entire season has been overs in Brighton games. It's minus 104, I believe. Sitting right around there, right around even money. If you definitely want to get it into plus money, you can do what I'm doing, which is adding both teams to score, which is plus 116. It's hitting every Brighton game as well. They're not getting shut out, and there's always a lot of goals. And Erling Haaland very due, by the way. Is Rodri back for this one, by the way?
He should be, yes. Okay. Yes. I'm reading that he should be back, yes.
I mean, he picked up that red card suspension, missed the Arsenal game, and a lot of people kept talking about how Kevin De Bruyne wasn't out there for City, and that was a big deal. I think the fact that Rodri wasn't out there was honestly bigger. There's a lot of guys who can get service to Haaland, but no shots on target in that matchup, which is pretty notable. Anything else from you for Man City Brighton?
I've got the exact same bet. Both teams to score over 3.5, and I think you hit it on the head, so I'm ready to move on.
All right, let's get to the big one. It's Chelsea. It's Arsenal. This one is at the Bridge. Arsenal have won the last 3 matchups in the Premier League straight up. They are plus money on the money line at plus 125, which I will be taking. I do like Arsenal team total over 1.5 at plus 126. And we saw Arsenal pocket Erling Haaland, who's the best attacker in the country. We saw them handle that Man City attack pretty well. Mind you, it was at home. But Chelsea under half a goal is plus 220. With a number like that, Chelsea have been scoring goals of late, but I think this Arsenal defense is top 3 in the Premier League. I think that's a pretty fair label. I'd put Newcastle up there, probably City right after that. I'm going to take the under half a goal at plus 220 with Arsenal getting the shutout.
So I'm not going to bet Arsenal money line. That I'm not going to do. But I do like the over 2.5 at minus 107. Would I be surprised if Chelsea got shut out? No. But would I also be surprised if they scored? Also no. So I think this kind of lines up as a 2-1 game here. Could see either side taking it. Arsenal probably going to take it, but I do like the over. I think there's value on the over 2.5 here.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I could see there's a lot that could happen in this one. You've got one for Sheffield as they take on Manchester United on Saturday, it's another late night.
It's another bet I've been riding. It's the United team total over United team corners over 6.5 at minus 105 this week. I do kind of like that number more when they're kind of underdogs, going to have to come from playing behind. I think they should absolutely dominate Sheffield. There was no value on getting, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, or Højlund props on this one. But I still think they're going to be on the attack for pretty much the entire game, which is going to lead to corners. So I like the over 6.5 United corners here.
Well, that's a lot of corners. That's 7 United corners you need. But I will say Sheffield are going to be sitting back. They are going to be in some crazy low block and throwing out, body parts left and right, trying to prevent balls from getting into the box. So I don't hate that. Let's go to Sunday. Aston Villa take on West Ham. Villa are winless against West Ham in their last 10 matches. And David Moyes' streak against Aston Villa is even bigger, which is shocking to me that West Ham is plus 290 on the money line for this game then. Also, a couple other stats I have here. West Ham have scored and conceded in 9 out of 10 EPL matches this season, and they've scored first in 7 of their 8 EPL matches this season. West Ham to score first, plus 140. The over 3.5, plus 150. I like a same game parlay over 2.5. Both teams to score and 24 or more shots. And like I said, I kind of lean West Ham plus 290 in this one. This could be Villa are due. They're playing well, but I could also see the draw, but the draw's at a good number, plus 280.
Yeah, so I think West Ham have been overachieving this season. I don't think they're as good as the results have shown, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they lost 3-1 to Liverpool. They did get that 2-2 draw against Newcastle, which is nice, but they beat Sheffield, they beat Luton, they beat Brighton. I mean, 1-1 against Bournemouth. They had a 3-1 impressive win against Chelsea earlier in the year, but also that's not like, that's not a huge feat. Beating Chelsea 3-1 at home is not amazing. They got sauced by Man City. I don't think West Ham also don't travel too well. A lot of their big wins and results this season have come at home. I like Villa money line at minus 115 in this contest. I think they're rolling, and I think a couple of their guys also got some momentum, like Ollie Watkins here in the international break. So I think they're going into this in the right form.
One thing that's notable for Villa, Buendia is still out, and Zaniolo, the Italian player that they brought in on loan from Galatasaray to replace him, also tied up in that Sandro Tonali betting situation. So he also could be getting a lengthy suspension. Yeah. So very curious to see how things play out there for Villa. Before we close it down for the day, I do have a parlay. Like I said, I mentioned, I wanted to put that Palace under half a goal first half. I hit a first half over half a goal parlay on the last day of the international break that hit in about 17 minutes. So I'm chasing that again. We're going to take under half a goal for Crystal Palace in their first half against Newcastle. Over half a goal in the following matches: Manchester City versus Brighton, Girona versus Almeria over in La Liga, Wolfsburg versus Leverkusen, a team we're hot on in the Bundesliga, and PSG versus Strasbourg. All of those matches kick off between like 9:30, 10:15 in that window on Saturday. So hopefully this bet should fully cash for you by 10:45. That's my hope. It clocks in at plus 202. So once again, Crystal Palace under half a goal, over half a goal in City Brighton, Girona Almeria, Wolfsburg Leverkusen, and PSG versus Strasbourg. That is going to wrap it up from us before we get out of here. And we'll be back early next week. We've got another Champions League match day 3. Things are, the cream is rising to the top in that competition. So we'll be back early next week with plenty of picks and parlays for you. Once again, use the Pick It app, follow us, see if we add anything else. Promo code +money, all lowercase, all one word, and follow us at Andrew Passaro, at Ani Sridhar 23, at the +money pod. Let's stay positive this weekend, and good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.